Hey guys, it's Libby and welcome to the introduction of a new series I'm doing here on my channel called The Guide to Discworld. So as you may know, this year I am attempting to read all 40, soon to be 41 books of the Discworld series. And recently I was talking about The Last Hero in my April wrap-up and I got the following comment from Brock at Let's Read. Really need to read more Discworld or any Discworld. I used to have The Last Hero, but it was all for the artwork. Of course, not having read the other books, I was wholly confused. So this video series is for you, Brock, and also for anybody else who gets confused by the Discworld series. That's very understandable. There are currently 40 novels and The Shepherd's Crown, the 41st novel, is due to be out later this year. There's also short stories, cookbooks, art books, quotation books, science books. There's a lot of stuff. And as you probably know, Terry Pratchett died earlier this year, so a lot of people have started paying more attention to his work, and they're probably feeling kind of lost in all the Discworld stuff. Of course, Terry Pratchett did write quite a few books that are not part of the Discworld series, so if you see a book by Terry Pratchett and you don't hear me mention it, it's not part of the Discworld series, and go ahead and read it. It will not contribute to your understanding of this video series. So the 41 Discworld novels are in publication order: The Color of Magic, The Light Fantastic, Equal Rights, Mort, Sorcery, Weird Sisters, Pyramids, Guards, Eric, Moving Pictures, Reaper Man, Witches Abroad, Small Gods, Lords and Ladies, Men-at-Arms, Soul Music, Interesting Times, Masquerade, Feet of Clay. I lost my place on the list. Hogfather, Jingo, The Last Continent, Carpe Jagulum, The Fifth Elephant, The Truth, Thief of Time, The Last Hero, The Amazing Maris and His Educated Rodents, Night Watch, The We Free Men, Monstrous Regiment, A Hatful of Sky, Going Postal, Thud, Wintersmith, Making Money, Unseen Academicals, I Shall Wear Midnight, Snuff, Raising Steam, and Shepherd's Crown, soon to be published. And Elizabeth over at Books in Pieces makes a fairly convincing and musical argument for why you should read the books in publication order. However, I disagree with that because the style of the series changes a lot from the first book, The Color of Magic, published in 1983, to the most recent book, published in 2013. I don't remember which one that was. Was it Raising Steam? Something like that. And I like the later books a lot more than I like the early books. So I'd hate for you guys to plod through 5 or 6 books that you don't like in order to get to the good stuff, because you'll probably wimp out, and that's understandable, but then you would miss all of the beauty that is Going Postal or Unseen Academicals. So my second video in this series will be about reading order and where you should start and what's a standalone and what's in a series and what's in a series but you can read it as a standalone. The next videos will sort of focus in on some of the sub-series or series within the series. I'll do mini synopses and reviews of all the books and tell you sort of the style and the themes of that set. And then I will finish up with a look at the other non-novel works in the Discworld universe. And if there are any other topics you'd like me to cover, please let me know and I will get to those as well. But for now, I will just do a brief overview of sort of what's going on in Discworld. These books are satirical fantasy. The early ones kind of more heavy on the fantasy and the later ones kind of more heavy on the satire. They take place on Discworld, which is where Terry Pratchett can sort of translate all of the human races and the planet Earth's quips and foibles and examine them and change them so that he can sort of highlight what he thinks is silly or useless or useful about them. The main difference between Discworld and our planet is that Discworld is flat, hence the name Discworld, and the disc rests on top of 4 giant elephants who are standing on the back of a giant turtle who swims through space. And other big difference, of course, Discworld has magic. There are different types of magic: wizardly type magic, witch type magic, and then there's also the gods who do stuff that could be considered magic. And the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are characters. Mainly we see death, but sometimes we also see war, famine, and pestilence. And they sort of live in their own set of dimensions. There are 4 continents on Discworld, each of which sort of correlate to one of our Earth continents. There's the continent, which is basically the West, mainly Europe, kind of North America, in that North America is like Europe, the counterweight continent, which is like Asia, Clatch, which is like Africa and the Middle East, and Forex, which is like Australia. And most of the books are taking place round about the same time, the two exceptions being Pyramids and Small Gods, which take place deep in Discworld's past. But otherwise, most books are taking place at the end of the century of the fruit bat and the beginning of the century of the anchovy. And the good news for your reading order ambitions is that Terry Pratchett, with the exception of those two I just mentioned, doesn't really write prequels, and all of the books progress in publication order. So the book that he published in 1986 takes place before the book that he published in 1987, regardless of what subseries it's in. So for example, the first book in the Moist von Lipwig subseries is Going Postal. In this book, Carrot Iron Fanderson has already joined the Ankh-Morpork City Watch, which happens in Guards. Okay, hopefully I have not completely confused you. I will be back soon with more information. Please ask me any questions you have in the comments, and in the description I will provide a link to the L-Space reading order guide, which is sort of what I go by, so you can do your homework for the next video. Bye!